And this is volume 6 of my trawl through the Telegraph on the 20th of April. And this is a gaff a museum made at the behest of a rather colourful character by the looks of things. It says here, museum gaff over royalty's person of colour. Queen Charlotte wrongly identified in LGBT guide as of non-white descent. Queen Charlotte was a person of colour, a museum's LGBT audio guide has wrongly claimed. Now, she was depicted as mixed race in a programme called Bridgerton, which I wouldn't have watched anyway, but had I been asked to watch it, would have refused on the grounds that I don't like history being messed around with. The inaccurate claims about her race are made in an LGBT-themed history trail of the Queen's House in Greenwich, one of 4 sites under the control of the taxpayer-supported group Royal Museums Greenwich. So taxpayers are paying for this muck to be spread around. The history trail, with its own online audio guide, was created for Royal Museums Greenwich by a drag king called Christian Adore, a self-declared homosexual historian. You see, there is no such thing as a homosexual historian. You're a historian, or you're not. You're a historian, or you're a fairy tale provider. You can tell fairy tales. Fairy tales. Right. You can tell fairy tales if you want. That doesn't make you a historian. That just makes you a fairy tale narrator. That's the word. A self-declared homosexual historian seeking to share deliciously gay stories from the past in a section of the downloadable guide dedicated to a large golden sculpture of Queen Charlotte. There. The nation's first, it states, Queen Charlotte was the nation's first royal person of colour. Yet, you heard me, the insecure white boys writing history conveniently forget to mention that bit because, well, structural racism, which is, okay. That man is he just wants to push a polemic, doesn't he? He's insulting white people, and I don't know why. He's probably white himself, and he calls them other white men insecure. Well, the only person who's insecure is him, and he has to make up stories to validate himself. Now, there are people, historians who are gay, who don't make a thing about being gay. There's some very eminent ones. Oh, crikey, I've forgotten his name now. Just a minute, I'm going to look it up. Oh, yeah, right. It was David Starkey. He is famously homosexual and he's a historian. He doesn't have to make up stories to talk about British history. And if you need anything, if you need to know anything about British history, you could do worse than read David Starkey's work. Okay, well, that's... as for Queen Charlotte, she was born into a German family. And the only reason anyone has to say that maybe she had some non-white racial history is because somebody who was writing about 50 years after she died said she looked like a mulatto, which was a derogatory term for somebody of mixed race. Well, that doesn't mean anything, does it? It means he just had a distaste for the way she looked, and he was racist because he believed that the features she had, which weren't to his taste, put him in mind of someone of some sort of African heritage, and that's the only reason for that. It says here, Royal Museums Greenwich has made efforts to reach a broader and more diverse audience. Look, we're living in Britain. Up till now, it's been a white history, and we just got to learn to live with that, including the people here who are now living here who are not from a white history. That's they've chosen to come and live here, they've got to make their contributions and make their own history. And then in a few years' time, they'll be remembered. OK, right, that is the end of volume 6, Onward and Upward. You can help my channel by clicking like, by subscribing, by clicking the notification bell, and by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels are in the description, also links to donation sites, but really the best way you can help me is simply by clicking like. Thank you.